Hey, good afternoon. It's about 5 o'clock. Oh, no, 4 o'clock. I've jumped ahead. 4 o'clock here, and I finally, today, got the pattern for the Wisteria lamp. So the Wisteria is about to start. And I want to bring you right in on the earliest steps in association, pardon me, in how I get started on these. I lost my word deal there for a second. Anyway, I'm kind of mesmerized by all of this. Okay, what you get for a pattern, the form has not come in yet. I don't need it yet anyway because I get all the glass cut first. And the way this is going to work, stay with me because this gets a little bit complicated. Anyway, when you buy the form and pattern from this company, it takes about 5 or 6 weeks to get it. They're made to order. And this is what you get for the Wisteria lamp. That's a Mylar pattern. Mylar is a kind of a plastic, if you will. And it's got a matte finish to it, and you can see through it. And they also send you a paper copy of that Mylar piece or pattern. And the reason is, well, there's the original Tiffany and the way it looks. And then I've got I'm not sure exactly how my coloring is going to go. I'm going to work on it as I go here. This is one idea I may get into. This is just a picture. But I've not totally decided on that yet because I didn't have the pattern yet. So anyway, now we have the pattern. But that's the original, or one of the originals. I should mention that this lamp was first built in 1906. There's only 14 of these known to exist, and they are worth a lot of money. I've seen them for well over $1 million, originals. Anyway, the way we're going to do this is that, say, well, why is there only one little piece of pattern here? The design repeats itself 5 times around that lamp. So you get one pattern, and if you look up at the top, there's 1,945 pieces. I've been saying 2,000. That's close enough to 2,000 for me. 5 repeats requires a crown and branch set. Okay, the crown is this metal or brass or bronze part in the top of the lamp. I'm having that made along with the base. The base is also being made. It takes 90 days to get the base made. This is the real thing here. We're not off buying some pewter knockoff. We're going for the real thing. So, and they're quite expensive. So anyway, the base and the crown are being made. They'll be shipped to me. Let's see, I've had it ordered now just about a month. So we've still got a couple of months to go. So how this is done is that I've already made one copy of, and I did it by hand, one copy of this Mylar pattern on a sheet of Mylar. And I'm going to lay this thing out on a light table. And I have my big light table right here. And I'll show you how I'm going to do this. Each piece will be cut from the Mylar pattern first. Each pattern piece will be cut from the Mylar pattern first. And what I'll do is take an X-Acto knife and I'll go around this inside of that black line, the inside. For instance, piece number 329, which is going to be a piece of purple, blue, whatever, not a leaf or branch part. Anyway, that I'll then pick out where or what color of glass I'm going to use for that particular spot. I'll need to cut that piece of pattern or piece of glass 5 times. That'll then set on top of this light table. And the way that's going to work is I'll show you. Now, here's a pattern piece, right? Here's a pattern. And watch how they'll interlock. So we're going to interlock them, okay? So I'm going to have a piece of, it's very close. Bear in mind that this black up here is because the lamp is built on a curve, right? So that would go or push in. And they're laying it flat here, so they have this cutout here. But this piece number 62 is going to come right over and land right near 50. And to show you where we are on this thing, all right, I color penciled this little area right here. And these are leaves, right? There's an L for leaf to tell me that they are leaves. And if you look on the original, let's see if we can, let's just move this. Okay, there we are. So see this, I'll just talk about these three right here. There they are on the original lamp. Then there's another one above, and they've colored it yellow. All right, and then there's one to the right. There it is. And then one above that, that one there. And there's another one a little bit higher up. Anyway, that's how I know where I am on this piece. And I should mention that, see the stem, they've elected here to do the stem in 3 pieces of yellow glass. There's the stem right there. Some of these lamps were built with that all being a cast branch or cast bronze. So we'll decide how we want to do that when we get that far. But anyway, what's going to happen is I'm going to take this mylar pattern piece here, and that's the piece that or the sheet of mylar that I'm actually going to cut out. And then, for instance, these are the 300s, these 300 pieces. Every time I finish with a, say, 315, every time I finish with that number 315, I'll put that in I'll have little bowls, and the 300s will go in one bowl, the 200s will go in another bowl, the 100s will go in another bowl. And the reason for that is if something happened along the way here, I dropped one and broke it, or as I got over to a grinder, it cracked, or dropped it on the floor, broke it, I can come back because I'll know it because I'm working off of, say, 315, where, good Lord, try to find 315. There it is, 315. I'm working on 315, so all I have to do is, if later on I needed 315, I go back to the bowl of 300s and dig out 315. There's 315. Look at some of this. It's ridiculous. Look at this down here. And man, there's some crazy cuts here. I saw one up here earlier. There's all kinds of very difficult glasswork here. Here's an oddball piece here with all of this stuff going on. Anyway, these are interlock, and I'm going to have now here's what I'm going to do now once I get through with this little video is I'll come back with this wisteria pattern here. I'll go over and I'll get it up wherever we're going to go with it. I'll get it up next to the one that's next to it, and we'll lay these out where they're laid out right on top of each other. One right after another. Okay, like that. And they'll go all the way across. Let me get where we're going here. All the way across this light table. Now the distance around this lamp is a little more than 56 inches. This light table is 48. So I'll set up another light table, and I've got 2 or 3 light tables. I'll set up another light table right here, and I'll be able to lay out the entire lamp all the way across these 2 light tables using these patterns the way I'm using them. So that way I can keep track of what this lamp is looking like as I start working on the colors. The color selection here is the number one thing. And let me turn this light table on and you'll see what I'm trying to do with it. These aren't necessarily the colors that are going to go in the lamp. There's some of the glass that I pulled up. And I was interested, like some of the leaves. I could have some of the leaves with a little bit of blue in there. Here's an interesting blue. There's an interesting blue. There's some blue and magenta down here. Some more interesting blue. I've got a lot of glass. Here's a whole bunch of glass over here. And then there's all kinds of glass over here that could easily work into this piece. So right now I'm just trying to, it's going to take me pretty much all of tomorrow to get these mylar patterns drawn up and to get everything ready to lay out on this mylar sheet all the way across here. And that's where that is. Okay, then when I get the mylar patterns all laid out all the way across here, and I'm using mylar patterns because I want to be able to see the glass real easy. For instance, let's do this. See, as I put a piece down, cut a piece, and put it down on the pattern, I can actually see what that looks like. So I can pick out the adjacent colors, and I can get a theme going where I want to go with this. In other words, this part of the lamp right here, as it cascades down here, in this particular lamp here, they've got a whole blue area here, a little more lighter colors over here. So I need to know where I am on this lamp. You just can't randomly cut a bunch of blue glass or randomly cut. That's the difference between a real fine handmade lamp and oh, I want to use the wrong word here. An inexpensive knockoff that has not had all this attention applied to it. So every single piece of this lamp, all 1,945 pieces, every single one of them will be picked out for that particular spot in its relationship with the other pieces that are laying next to it or in a line with it. And you can see on this particular, I'm not saying we're going to build it this color, but you can see here all of the work along the bottom of that lamp is a deeper, darker blue as they go up. Here's a whole cluster of leaves that have quite a bit of yellow and green in them. Whereas I could make a decision on part of the lamp to go with the green and maybe a little hint of blue in some of the leaves. I don't think I'll do that, but it's possible. I see up here in the top of this one, there's some of the green glass that's got a little hint of blue in it. So we'll make those decisions one at a time as we go across here. But the main thing is to lay this all out, get the colors working, and be able to set them on top of this light table and the other light table. When all 2,000 pieces are laid out across this thing, then, and they'll all fit the pattern. They'll be set on the pattern to make sure they work. Let me turn this bright light off. I don't know whether that's bothering your eyes or not. Anyway, when all of these pieces are laid out on the pattern, all 1,945 of them, then we go to the mold itself and we start fitting the pieces onto the mold. At that point, each piece will be wrapped with a thin strip of copper foil. And you'll watch, I'll have videos for all of this stuff as we move along here. And I've got a station more or less set up here to do this work. Here, I've set up this particular grinder with a much smaller head, little diamond-coated head here. This is a sponge, it will be when I get water on it, and that'll keep that diamond head there moist. And that little tiny head is going to be used for little slots like this. Let me find it. I saw one here, but this thing, you can just get lost in this thing. I saw a real good spot earlier where, yeah, right up in a slot like this, up inside of here. You'll want to be able to clean that because all these pieces need to fit real tight, real uniformly. Here's another one right up in here. Look at these small pieces. Look here at number 69 and 67. Those are just tiny. So I've built this lamp before, and I remember it well. I'm pretty excited to build this because I'm way at the, I don't know, I don't want to say the end, but I'm in the final few years of my little career, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have a client that wants this lamp because I've been wanting to build this lamp for quite a few years just because I can. It's an exciting lamp to build. It's, as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of lamp builders that have built this lamp, but this thing's the Mount Everest of Tiffany reproduction lamps here. You really can't do this for money. Although we certainly get paid to do this, this is a commitment here. This isn't, you get on through here and move quick to get your check. That's not what this is. This, you have to really love to do this stuff to take off on something like this, because if you're just looking at these two sections here, that's one thing. But this is 5 of these across here, so there's 56 inches of this. Now, when I get all 56 inches of this across here and the light table lit up, oh man, this is going to be really stunning to see all those colors. And then they'll be applied to the mold one at a time, and you'll get to be with me through that, so that should be interesting. So for people that wonder how these lamps are really built and how good quality lamps are really built, I'm in day one. This is the first day, and I'm still got. This is a little bit arduous, but there's my Mylar pattern off the original. I've still got to make 4 more of these, and I'll keep this as my. This thing will get cut on, this Mylar pattern here. And like I said, I'll be X-Acto knife the inside of that black line. And the reason for that is because there'll be foil wrapped around it, foil wrapped around that piece. So you got to compensate for that little bit of space between there, which shows up on a finish lamp like that. So anyway, we talked about, oh yeah, grinder. So we were on this little head here. Now, cleaning up the outer edge of a lot of the pieces, or larger pieces, is the larger head on the grinder. So rather than have one grinder set up, I've got 2, because I'll be using this for a considerable amount of it, and then for the real tight stuff right here. And then for the absurdly impossible cuts, we've got a ring saw, and this is a real handy device. There's a, down inside there, let me flip this up. Right there, that's a continuous ring that goes all the way around inside of a water bath. There's water here. And this thing will cut at any angle you want to cut real tight. So if I have something that's real difficult to get around, and I saw one here earlier. I wish I could remember where that was. There was one of these pieces that would certainly be a candidate for the ring saw. Actually, certainly you should be able to cut this with a glass cutter. But when you get these pieces down, they get real narrow down on the end there. When I'm trying to get that, I need that whole thing. I don't need it to break off. And the difference between a really high quality lamp and one of lesser quality is that this piece of glass goes down to there and back around there. It needs to go all the way down. If you're careless, not a good cutter, you could easily break that piece off right there. I could put a little green on that. It's a leaf anyway. So if you do that, then that is a cavity, and that cavity will have to be filled with solder. So the difference between a real high quality lamp and one that's not such high quality is that there'll be a lot of voids on a lamp that is of lesser quality. And those voids are because the people that cut the glass didn't cut it close, and therefore those voids or holes have to be filled with solder. So I know what this lamp is going to look like because I'm going to put my best effort into this. And since I've been doing this for nearly 50 years, I believe that I can do a really, really good job with this thing. And so that's why I've decided that I want to do it. And I think, what is this? Oh, man, what a good day to start, February 1st. February, March. I think I'm going to be all of 90 days, if not more. I'd love to work on it 8 or 10 hours a day, but man, this thing just really takes its toll on your fingers. These 4 fingers right here on both hands really get a workout. So I've got to be cognizant of that. And when I've been on these lamps like this before, what generally happens is that you have to bail off after X number of days just to get your hands to heal up a little bit. I never have had any issues. I'm an old man too. I'm 74 years old. I've never had any issues with arthritis or any of that kind of stuff. Well, I'm fortunate there. But like anybody else, you know, there's skin on the end of my fingers, and this stuff here, when you start working with pieces of glass this size, and bear in mind when you cut these, the edges are all sharp. So they just grind away at your fingers. And somebody said, well, you should use gloves. Gee, when you start working with glass like that, I don't know. Maybe some surgical gloves would be what you'd have to use to get to that. So anyway, that's where we are with that. So what else is there? I think I talked about the grinders, the ring saw, this. So really all that remains now for me to do is to keep working and get the rest of these Mylar prints or Mylar copies done. And then as soon as those are done, they'll be laid on this light table, and I'll start cutting glass. And I've still got to make a decision about where to start, what area of the lamp to go to first. I'm kind of thinking I'm probably going to start more up toward the top and come down. It doesn't make any difference. You can go down and go up. There is a lot of stuff that goes into the production of one of these, but right now we're in a mode of just getting the patterns all set up, getting the light table set up, and get ready to go. Then it's just pound it out. So if you have any questions about this thing, let me know. I keep thinking there's something else I wanted to talk about with this lamp, but I can't remember what it is. I'm pretty excited about it. This is a lot of fun. If you know how to do something like this, then I think it's somebody similar to somebody that plays music real well. You really like to do it. So that's where I'm at with this. And the only anxiety is figuring these colors out. And I'll make some real serious decisions about that. Probably, today is Tuesday, probably by Thursday, I'll be pushed or forced into, making decisions about the color. And that's always the hardest part of these. If you've built the skills to execute something like this, then it's the color selection that makes or breaks these lamps. And I intend to do as good a job as I possibly can to figure that part out. Well, anyway, I appreciate the attention to this thing. We've been waiting on the parts to come in, and here they are. So we're going to get started. Thank you. Be sure and ask your questions. I'll be checking with you later. Bye now.